Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for asking me to come and speak here today. I think it's a very important topic to look at, because I think cinema is being gone back to being treated the way it was when it was invented, as pure entertainment, not to be taken seriously. And now what Bhaichand has just said is in a way saying the same thing, that people don't take cinema seriously, that it is just entertainment to be enjoyed and forgotten. But I think something has changed. I think things have happened in cinema, and I think it has had some influence on the way we think and the way we behave and the way we act. That it does influence society and it reflects society at the same time. That is a given. But cinema has never taken it upon itself to reform society. It is not even incumbent upon cinema to be a force for social change. It's always catered to entertainment, that we all agree. But from the time it was invented in different countries, cinema took a very different shape. And Indian cinema took a special shape, and I think we should just go back and look at it for a minute before we come to what today is. Because when it was invented, cinema established a rapport with the audience based on Indian patterns of behavior, speech, relationships, manners, dress. The strong local cultural underpinnings dictated even the style of filmmaking, in the manner in which situations unfolded and stereotype characters were established. Song and dance, an integral part of everyday life, found its space as well, which was very different from the way the cinema developed in other countries. All right, that was 100 years ago. This year we're celebrating 100 years of Indian cinema. But sometimes it's nice to look back at the past and see from where did it come, what it is today, but where did it all start, and does that have any kind of meaning in today's world? I think it does, because the ramifications of globalizations have had an inevitable impact on the cinemas of India, most evident in the Hindi cinema of Bombay. It's become the most sweeping transformation has been of Hindi cinema into an urban phenomenon. While earlier, each film felt the necessity to cater to all segments of its very disparate audience, grandparents, children, the urban dispossessed, the rural audiences, as well as the occasional westernized, world-traveled, educated citizen. Now, with expanding audiences at proliferating multiplexes in metro centers and fast-growing small towns, the rural audience has been totally sidelined. I think it's a very dangerous trend, because the culture that this new urban-oriented cinema reflects is that of the global Indian, as much at ease in Bangkok or Warsaw or Delhi or Bombay or London or New York. It's the same. The clothes are as international as the locales, the occupations and the preoccupations totally city-centered. Only the dances and songs remain totally Indian, although here too a certain, if you say sophistication, it really means westernization has set in, and yet there is an assertion of an Indian identity in the songs and dances as well. But as such, mainstream cinema has become more a reflection of the world around it than a mix of the rich diversity that appeared in the range of films earlier. Now, I think a very dangerous trend that this is showing is that there is no connection left between the urban and the rural. Earlier, urban or rural, you saw the same films, you had the same reference points. It brought people closer together. Now, films made for urban audiences are as alien to rural audiences as a film made in America or in France. And so you no longer have any common cultural reference points. And I think it's a very dangerous trend. It's part of what is happening anyway, with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. I'm sorry to have to say it, but I think it's a fact. And the cinema, which had a role in bringing us together in an odd sort of way, is no longer there. Today's urban-based popular cinema has themes, characters, relationships, situations designed to attract the young and the affluent first and foremost. In the process, some elements find an echo among the city-based, not so affluent as well. And these are very interesting trends that are coming up now, which I would like to talk about. In a film like Bodyguard, I don't know how many of you saw Bodyguard, the iconic Salman Khan. Anybody see Bodyguard? Well, it's a fun film, but it has a very strong underlying message, which I think a lot of films today are beginning to have. Its heroine comes from an elite family background, attends an elite educational institute, but the bodyguard, incarnated by Salman Khan, evoked wild enthusiasm from the Aam Janta in the theatres where it was shown. Now, why? I think, whether consciously or subconsciously, does this correspond to a desire to cross economic boundaries? Is the film trying to say, is a film trying to convey a kind of wish fulfillment, catering to fantasies, that a union between a lowly bodyguard and a rich young woman from the upper echelons is not impossible? It could be that a film like this caters to aspirations that once would have been unthinkable. These are the kind of things that are happening now, I think, and in a lot of films that have become big box office successes, with highly educated, cinema literate filmmakers, writers, actors are beginning to look at cinema in a new manner, both in terms of content and cinematic style. I'm not going to name the films, you all know them, the usual Tare Zameen Par, Lagan, Munna Bhai, Lage Raho, etc. Three Idiots, which I am told is the biggest box office success of all time, all over the world, beating all Hollywood records. And I talked to someone in Hong Kong who was sitting next to me in a theatre, and I said, why did you like it? And he said, the film has been a huge success in Hong Kong. I said, how come? And he said, it's because it's very entertaining, but you come away with a thought in your mind, and that thought doesn't leave you for a long time, because you keep thinking about the whole education system, what the young go through. And yet, while you're watching the film, you're carried away by its entertainment value. I think that is a very important point. And more filmmakers are trying to do that kind of thing. And on the side by side with these, there are films by new young filmmakers who are eschewing entertainment in a sense, totally to express their own feelings. It is what the new cinema started, new Indian cinema started in the early 1970s, and then in a sense faded away, became part of the mainstream, and is resurfacing now. Films like Andhe Ghode Dadan, Pairon Talle by Siddharth Srinivasan, which is playing now, Nandita's own Firak, which was one of the few films of this kind that did get distribution. I don't know how well it did in the theatres, but you must, I hope you'll talk about it a little bit, Nandita. However, even when films such as these leave you disturbed, can cinema really lead to action? So when you talk of can cinema be an agent for social change, it can make you think, it can bring ideas to the surface, it can spread those ideas very widely, not as widely as television, as Bhai Chand said, but whereas when you see a television program, you see it and you forget it, it's like a newspaper article. But a film is like reading a novel. It does stay with you. You go back and look at it again and again, and the long-term effect is there. It takes time, but I think it is there. Alexander Kluge, a long time ago, did say that the motive for realism in cinema is never confirmation of reality, but protest. But can cinema lead to protest beyond the depiction of reality? Teshome Gabriel, the famous Teshome Gabriel, whose book Third Cinema in the Third World became a major reference work some long ago. He wrote that third cinema is one which seeks to decolonize minds and lead to a transformation of society. But is it within the purview of cinema to transform society? It can point out the ills of society, but does it have the power to transform it? I don't think it does, but it can start a process of thinking, of debate, not among perhaps the Aam Janta, the wide public population that sees the film, and which is getting really reduced now for the reasons I mentioned earlier, but among the thinking elite, the people who rule this country. If it can help provoke and thought, if it can just plant the seed of a doubt, it can help, it can create debate, it can start you thinking into something, is thinking about things, and it can provoke some action through the new tools of social networking and communication. The time when the mainstream popular cinema as a movement starts to incorporate strong social comment and sway minds via entertainment has not really come of age, but it is on its way. Meanwhile, today, this is a role that documentary has taken over. Because empowered by the tools of digital filmmaking, there's a dramatic rise in powerful, thought-provoking documentaries that are finding their way of reaching audiences. These are made by young filmmakers who believe passionately in the theme, on the content of what they're making a film about, and they are taking it in their hands to go around the country, to small towns, to schools, to villages, to universities, to showing these films that are taking up issues in a very, very important manner. And I think it is beginning to make a change. And I think the time when cinema combines entertainment more and more than it has done with ideas for social change, if not becoming an agent for social change, at least it can plant the ideas. And I think it is beginning to happen. Thank you.